So Joe Biden's wife gave her husband the single worst endorsement of all time. I really don't think that's hyperbole. I think it's true. So let me show you that, and then I have quite a bit to say about it.
So yes, your candidate might be better on, healthcare than Joe is. But you've got to look at who's going to win this election. And maybe you have to swallow a little bit and say, okay, I personally like so-and-so better. But your bottom line has to be that you have to. Because I know that not all of you are committed to my husband. And I respect that. But I want you to think about your candidate, his or her electability, and who's going to win this race.
I mean, first of all, virtually every major candidate is beating Trump head-to-head in the polls at this moment. So to make the electability argument and cite the polls is a little silly, because the counter to that could be as simple as, yeah, but my preferred candidate is up in the polls as well. So it's not a good argument for that reason. And also, there's just some lazy assumptions in there. The assumption being, well, obviously Joe is the most electable. You have to make that case. And, well, you can't make it based on the polls because, like I said, the polls show virtually every major candidate massively up on Trump at this moment. So then you have to make other arguments. What other arguments are there to conclude that Joe Biden is the most electable, and that's obvious? The reality is that's just a lazy assumption from people who are in that establishment bubble. So that's the first point. The second point is, I don't know if you caught it there at the beginning, but she said, your candidate might be better on, say, healthcare, but that's irrelevant. You just got to think who's going to be Trump. Jill Biden is a doctor. Jill Biden probably knows that Medicare for All is the solution to our healthcare woes. So when Jill Biden says your candidate might be better on, say, healthcare, that's a red flag. I know Bernie's better on this. I know he's better on this. I know that he has the answer. I know Joe is terrible on this. But I'm saying, come on, bro. Come on, just Joe, it's Uncle Joe. It's Uncle Joe. Just come. He's who's going to be Trump? We've seen this movie before, man. The same arguments were made in 2016, and take out Joe Biden and put in Hillary Clinton. I know, you have this lefty love fest with Bernie Sanders, and he's where your heart is. But go where your brain tells you, and your brain tells you that serious people run centrist campaigns, and that's how you get elected and beat the Republicans, is to be very centrist. Well, we saw what happened. Hillary Clinton lost to basically a joke of a human being, a reality TV star buffoon, a guy who contradicted himself every 7 seconds. So, conventional wisdom should be, oh, well, obviously you got to go left, because we tried the centrist approach, and we lost. But Joe Biden's like, well, come on. Who's going to be Trump? It's funny because that's one of the many reasons why I support Bernie Sanders. First and foremost, I support Bernie Sanders because his policies are on point, but I also support Bernie Sanders because I think he's by far and away our best chance of beating Trump. So the argument that they use that they think bolsters their candidate doesn't. And there's also this weird thing of like, oh, your candidate might be better on this issue, but overlook that because we need to pick the best candidate. And it's like, well, no, the best candidate is determined by the criteria of who's better on the issues. Any actual objective analysis of the election, that would be the lens through which you evaluate this stuff. It's like, okay, well, one of the very important issues, literally the most important issue to the American people, according to polling, healthcare. So when you say, well, sure, other candidates might be better on healthcare, that's actually a giant admission that it's like, yeah, go with that candidate. You don't realize you're saying that, but that is what you're saying. And this and also as I think it was Adam Johnson on Twitter said, he responded to this clip and he said, inspiring. Like, this is all they got, man. All they got is like this wag your finger, fall in line-ism. Like, well, what do you do? Come on, what are you doing? Be serious. Be serious and do the thing that I want you to do, which is just fall in line and go for the person whose brain is melting on national TV and who has a terrible policy agenda and has shown repeatedly that he would be very risky to go up against Trump. So the way you actually win elections is to inspire people, is to give people hope, is to, release a policy platform that makes people excited. But they're like, it's the entitlement thing here. It's like, come on, he's entitled to this position. I mean, he's been in politics for so long. So who's the most electable? Joe Biden has ran for president 2 other times and got his ass handed to him on a silver platter 2 other times. So, by, again, any way of looking at it, he's not the most electable. I can't. Oh, Jesus, they're so, oh, God. But at least it's almost like a Freudian slip, that part at the beginning, where she's just like, your candidate might be better on, say, healthcare. That's such a Freudian slip. It's like, okay, I know my husband's a mess. I know he's not doing great. But I'm basically just going to, like, beg you to overlook everything and don't think about it and just go with the person who we're trying to tell you is most electable, even though they're not the most electable. I mean, if this is what their campaign boils down to, wow, that is so sad. By the way, he's still up in the polls. Now, support has continued to dwindle for him. That's 100% the case. However, he is still up in the polls. And I would tell people, don't take that lightly, because I think there's a generational divide on this. And what I mean by that is like older Democrats who aren't maybe plugged into this stuff and following it closely. Their default support just goes to Biden. And so that might be one of the main reasons why he's still leading in the polls. So that is something that's important. And we need to reach out to that demographic. We need to reach out to those people and let them know what the deal is here. Because there's no logical, rational reason to look at this candidate at this point in time and say, oh yeah, that's the one. And it's beyond sad when it gets to this point, where his wife comes out and is like, okay, he might not be great on like the issues, but I mean, come on, just go with it's electable or something, whatever. Let's not make this mistake again. They never learn their lesson, man. The establishment never learns their lesson, or they learn it and they don't care because they'd rather lose with a centrist than win with a lefty. That's the other option.